This is Profit from the Inside with Joel Block. Insights to give your business the inside track. And now, here's your host, Joel Block.
Who is far and away the most famous baseball pitcher? He throws more strikes than anyone, but yet hasn't been awarded or nominated for a Cy Young or the Hall of Fame. To answer that, live and in person, the Peanut Man himself, Roger Owens. Roger, how are you?
Okay.
Hey, listen, man, this is so fun to have you on the show. You are legendary at Dodger Stadium.
Well, the thing is, and I appreciate the compliments and the fans that appreciate what I do out there, and yet I'm still the only pitcher in the major leagues making less than $1 million a year.
Hopefully, listen. My guess is you sell a lot of bags of peanuts. You do pretty good.
Well, not as many as I used to sell. The price has gone up, and we got a lot more guys selling them now. And of course, especially in the summer heat that we've had here for the last month and a half, when it's hot and humid, peanut sales fall off. But I'm still happy at what I do, and I wouldn't change anything for the world on the job that I have at Dodger Stadium.
Let me just share. Everybody in Los Angeles knows who you are, but for people who are from stadiums and other parts of the country, Roger is no doubt about it the most famous peanut thrower in all of the major leagues, probably in any sport there is. He works my section, which is right under the press box behind home plate, and I've been coming for 20 years in those seats, and Roger's been there for all 20 years. And maybe other stadiums have guys like Roger, I don't know, but Roger's a fixture at Dodger Stadium, like Vin Scully was, and so many other guys. And although this show is normally profiting from the inside track and all the rest, I think we're going to get a little different inside track here from Raj. A little bit of business, a little bit of fun. And I just I feel so good about having you on the show. So give us a little background. Tell us who you are. How'd you get into baseball? Because I've got a lot of questions I want to find out.
Well, sure. But again, this is my 61st year in a row pitching peanuts at LA Dodger baseball games. And the fans now are just shaking their head. And I'm going through like second, third, and fourth generations of families at Dodger Stadium. And I started in 1958 when the Brooklyn Dodgers moved from New York to LA and started playing baseball on a football field in the LA Coliseum.
Oh, you were there. What was that? 58 or so, right?
1958. That was their first year.
Yeah.
And it took 4 years to build Dodger Stadium. So we started in the LA Coliseum, and after 4 years there, the Dodger Stadium was completed, and we made the switch over to Dodger Stadium for the beginning in April of the 1962 baseball season. But how I got started was I'm the oldest of 9 children in our family. I have 6 sisters and 2 brothers, and I come from a very poor and humble background. And I was asked to go out and get a job at the Coliseum at Dodger games to bring sell soda pop, to bring grocery money home to, we were a very poor, humble family, very poor background. And my dad asked me just to go out there and sell soda pop to bring grocery money home to keep our family together. And I was a baseball pitcher at Manual Arts High School, which is right down the street from the Los Angeles Coliseum.
You're kidding.
And I went over and got a job selling soda and worked my way. There were only 3 things we sold back in those days: soda, frozen ice cream, chocolate malts, and a double bag of peanuts. And before this first season was over, I had worked my way up through a lot of hard work and just sacrifice. And as the supervisor saw that I was producing on soda, he promoted me up to the ice cream. That was second, but peanuts were the top of the ladder there. That was the thing that you always strive for. And before the end of the year, I was on peanuts, and I was a happy guy pitching double bags of peanuts for a quarter, 25 cents for 2 bags, double bag.
Oh, my.
And like I said, then we switched over to Dodger Stadium in 1962. And it's from then on to this present time that I have secured such a personal relationship with so many fans on the loge level. Again, that's the section where you sit. And I have, unlike other vendors that are constantly jockeying around trying to figure out which level each day, each game, they switch from level to level, from product to product. And yet, since 1962 to 2019, where we're at today, I have never left the loge level. I always sell on that same level. I have never switched from peanuts to anything else where I might be able to make more money. But I don't think there's anyone that has the passion for my work and the desire just to entertain the crowd and has the personal relationship that I have with so many fans in this day and age. I mean, we're like family. These are people that will invite me to their office for lunch. Some people have actually, fans have become such good fans. I've been to their homes. They've been to mine. It's just something that we have a bond. And, the thing is, working at the ballpark has really helped me to be successful in life. And it didn't happen overnight. It's been a lot of hard work and dedication and sacrifice on my part. But it always comes, of course, smiles go a long way in sales. And whether you're selling peanuts, used cars, or hamburgers, you've got to know how to make people happy and be a good role model for the younger people that come to the ballpark, and just appreciate every ethnic background, every race of person that comes out there. Communication is so important, and I've learned that along the way. And it just brings me so much joy in just working there. But again, it's tough work, hiking up and down those stairs with a heavy load on your back. But through the years, I've made so many friends in doing a job the best I could do.
Let me tell you that as a fan, as one of those people who has deep admiration for you, and we had you come out and throw peanuts at one of my daughter's party one time. I mean, so I know that personal connection with you, and
sure.
But I'll tell you something. Here's why I wanted you to come on the show. This is a show for business people, and we talk about pretty hardcore business issues. And you just said something that is remarkable, and I want to tell you something you don't know, but I'm a little surprised here. What you just said is that, you enjoy your work. You're passionate. You've stayed in the same section. You've befriended many of these people. You are a absolute brilliant salesman, and you're selling about the most simple product that there is in the world. There's no explaining. There's no misunderstanding. There's no refunds. It's pretty simple, But you have become the consummate salesman. You're probably one of the best representatives that Dodger Stadium has on their entire staff.
Thank you.
And that is really the truth. I mean, you really represent the ballpark so well, and that's why I wanted you to come on the show. But, on the topic of you, befriending people and, kind of following along, how is it that, you run into so many different kind of people, and you're all the time, connecting every day. It's different people in the seats, or maybe not every day, but I mean, people move around somewhat. What is that experience like? I mean, what's it like for you, just connecting with all these different people?
Well, first of all, and this is really one of the secrets, I look forward to going to work every day. And sure, in this day and age, you can really get down with the way that things are in society today, and sometimes the way people act, and you can get a little depressed by that. But I look forward to going to the ballpark every day because I'm first of all a people person, and I was not cut out to be at a desk all day long just looking at a wall. I like interacting with people. I don't even use an ATM machine. I enjoy when I go to the bank. I go in and I want to talk to somebody and face to face and interact. And it's always been that. But at the ballpark, I'm able to be successful by how hard I work. And my dad taught me that many years ago when I was selling newspapers, that success doesn't just happen overnight, and it just doesn't happen by chance. My motto has always been, life doesn't just happen to us. We have to make it happen. And I tell people, peanuts are my bag and people are my life. And I get so much joy and happiness, I just as much as the fans, when I'm entertaining these young children and moms and dads at the ballpark, throwing these bags of peanuts behind the back, under the leg, 2 at a time. And it's the banner with the crowd also. I found that if I can just interject my own personality and just be the best I can be, no more, no less, I'm going to be successful. And I know that it's turned out to be, and a good sense of humor. That is so important, as long as being a hard worker with a lot of energy. But my personality just fits in at Dodger games. And I realize it now and didn't so much know it when I was a young teenager out there working. But I don't know, I just appreciate being able to go to a place like Dodger Stadium where families are at ease and they're enjoying, I've worked through all my years. I've worked baseball, football, basketball, soccer, hockey. But now I'm just only in this stage of my life, only doing LA Dodger home games. And that's where a lot of my joy comes from, is that it's a family experience at the ballpark. There are more wives and children that go to baseball games as opposed to football, basketball, or any of the others. I mean, I'm not putting down those sports. I love those sports too, and I'm always watching and seeing what's going on there. But I don't know. There are people that actually now in this day and age, with emails and so on, that people will actually email me days in advance of when they're having a special customer. One of their best clients is coming in from Chicago, and we've given him he'll be at the game on such and such date, and they tell me where the man will be sitting and who he'll be with, and what some of his hobbies, and if he's got a sense of humor. And you just tell them that we appreciate not only the business but the friendship. And I'm their goodwill ambassador, it turns out to be. And it's caught on with several people that actually I'm probably the only peanut vendor in the country that has seasoned peanut holders. And I say that with a chuckle, because these people that own their own companies, and they're always looking for a little special, something special that their customer would not be expecting and would enjoy. And so they give me all this information. And when I show up at their seats on a given day, I'll just ask, are you guests of the XYZ company? Well, yes, we are. And so I'll say, well, you must know so-and-so. And yeah, well, we do. You gave us the tickets. Well, and I go into a little spiel and let them know that how much they're appreciated. But they get so much value, because almost all these people, even if they're from out of town, have seen me on television or maybe in a small part in a movie or read about me in the paper. And they'll say, well, I know you, and I'm glad to meet you. And so they'll go back and tell their customer, it was a great game, and we also got to talk to the Peanut Man at Dodger Stadium.
I'll tell you something funny. Everybody, you are so well known. I was getting my haircut the other day, and the guy, I was talking to my guy and told him that we're going to have you on the podcast show. And he, Roger and I are friends. We took a picture together. We did this and this, and he knows you. So, everybody knows you. It's quite amazing. And I'm telling you, Raj, you are really quite an extraordinary ambassador for the Dodgers, because I'll tell you personally, beside the game, which of course take for granted, the two things that I like to do at the ballpark, I like to get there early for the national anthem. I really enjoy the national anthem, and I like watching you. Those are really the two most important things, aside from the ball game, that I just enjoy the most. And and really, I think that in these days with Amazon and people getting home delivery and all the other stuff, I think people really need to think about the customer experience. And you deliver a customer experience. I mean, you really are an ambassador for the Dodgers, and I would hope they would recognize you for that.
Well, actually, I don't work for per se for the Dodgers. I work for the food concessionaire at Dodger Stadium, and I mean the Dodgers are very well aware of me, and they have given me some honors in the past. I'm always glad to say that I feel so blessed and so privileged to be able to work at Dodger Stadium. I don't know how many, even through the years, CEOs of big corporations, they'll come up to me and they'll say, Roger, and they'll give me one of their cards, and they'll let me know, hey, if you're ever in the area, stop by and say hello. And they said, I only wish that I could do your job, and you know, you're having a lot more fun than I am.
Yeah, I've watched you.
That I do, but you know, but the Dodgers, and they have given me the honor of throwing out the first pitch to officially open up a baseball game 4 different times, and that's quite a privilege in itself. But the one that sticks out the most, in 1976. They gave me the honor of throwing out the ceremonial first pitch to open the season. Now, that's really a huge honor.
Wow.
They normally try to get the President of the United States, or it's a big-time movie star, but it was their idea to do this, and they said, we'd like you to throw the baseball, not a bag of peanuts, that will be in your peanut basket, and we want you to throw it from the top of the loge level where you sell the peanuts, and you will be introduced to the crowd, and we want to have you throw the longest ceremonial first pitch of all time from the second deck at Dodger Stadium all the way to Steve Yeager, the Dodger catcher, at home plate. And I did, and it was quite a thrill, and I was really shaking. You know, they had me come in the day before to make a practice throw, that long of a throw when the stadium was empty, and I did it quite easily. But the next day when the stadium was totally full with 56,000, and I never thought about it, but Steve Yeager, the Dodger catcher at that time, told me he was shaking because he had a hard time picking up the ball. It was camouflage from coming from the second deck all the way down to home plate with the clothing and the sun. And he said, if I drop this, the people will boo me all year long.
You know,
I never thought
that's incredible. But I think the front of the loge where we sit is like what, 120 feet to home plate. It's really not that far.
Well, I've never measured. I never measured how long a throw that was. Normally, you know, it's just from before the pitcher's mound to home plate. But
yeah.
But no, I let it go, and they took pictures of it as I was releasing the ball, and still had the peanut box still strapped around my shoulders, and let it fly, and it was a strike, and
so you hold the record for the longest pitch, huh?
Ceremonial first longest pitch of all time, yeah, for opening day.
For any day. When else is there ever in a pitch? It's 100 and something feet. I mean, come on, you know, it's probably the longest ever.
And then everybody always wonders what's the most number of bags of peanuts that I've ever sold in one game. And actually, it was not at Dodger Stadium, but the Dallas Cowboys were watching Tex Schramm, who used to be the president of the Dallas Cowboys back in the 70s. And that's when they had, you know, they were in the playoffs and the Super Bowl almost every other year, and unbelievable with the team they had. But he was watching The Tonight Show. I've been on The Tonight Show 4 times, but the first time was with Johnny Carson. And the Dodgers, in their brilliance, they thought, now what can we do to get NBC and the talent people sold on that they should have Roger on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson? And they decided, well, he can offer to teach Johnny Carson the art of pitching peanuts in the audience, because I make it look so easy, and Johnny Carson is going to find out how hard it is, especially if you're throwing them behind the back or under the leg. But they wanted something more, so that it was the Dodgers' idea to have me throw out that longest ceremonial first pitch of all time. took a picture, blew it up, sent it to the Tonight Show, and that's what got me on the first time on the Tonight Show, because that was something that Johnny Carson wanted to talk about. And my record also for the most bags of peanuts that I've ever sold was at Texas Stadium in 1976. The Dallas Cowboys saw me on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Tex Ram said, invite Roger to our stadium on Monday Night Football once the Dodger baseball season is over. We'd like to have him here because I know that our fans would enjoy what he does. And I sold in one game, the most peanuts I'd ever sold in one game at Dodger Stadium was a little under 2,000 bags.
Oh my God, that's a lot of bags.
But, I had a sore back and I was so tired the next day. I sold at Texas Stadium 2,000. I'm sorry, the most I'd ever sold at Dodger Stadium, I got turned around, was a little under 1,000 bags. But at Texas Stadium in one night, I sold 2,400 bags of peanuts. Oh. I got ahead of myself on that. And the way I was able to do that is that I had a helper that would carry cases of peanuts on a dolly around the entire Texas Stadium. And this young man, he was watching the game with one eye and keeping an eye on me and the other one, because whenever I would get low on the basket with peanuts, I'd always put my hand up, and that means that he was going to run down and bring me a new case of peanuts, drop it in the basket, so I wouldn't have to keep running back and forth to the commissary to get peanuts. And that's how I was able to sell 2,400 bags in one year.
What's a normal night at Dodger Stadium? I mean, first of all, attendance, they broke another attendance record this year. I think they hit 3.9 million and something. So
yes.
The numbers are, your sections must be full almost every night. So what's normal for you?
Well, it fluctuates quite a bit, and we don't sell near as many as we used to. And the reasons being, in dollar sales, I'm still selling more as far as dollar sales are. But in number of bags, you got to remember, when I was even selling in the 70s, when I was selling that bag of peanuts, they were $1 a bag. And even less than that in the 60s and mid-say didn't even go up to $1 till about 1970 or 71. But peanuts now are $6.25 a bag, but they're a much, much bigger bag than back then.
That's right. It's a bigger bag. Yeah.
Yeah, much bigger. Oh, the bag that we were selling, even that double bag that we used to sell, was 1.5 ounces on each side. The bags we sell today are 8 ounce. That's half a pound. That's a big bag. Number two, the price is a lot more than it used to be. But what's really also hurt our sales now, because the vendors are strictly on commission, and of course, the more you sell, the more you make. But now, the people are bringing, especially the young people, and a lot of the middle-aged people, plastic to the ballpark. They're bringing their credit cards, their debit cards, and they're buying everything in one swoop up at the stand, where they're getting their hot dogs and the beer and the nachos and whatever, and they see the peanuts and they put it on their card. Now, the people that have grown up with me through the years, they know that I'm only taking cash and not the card, and that I work on commission, and they want to help me. So they will still wait for me to come around and buy the bag of peanuts from me, not just to help me, but also it's the fun that the enjoyment they get in just catching that bag of peanuts. Or they'll bring a guest and they'll start bragging about my arm, and they'll wave at me from 30 rows away, and I find out later, and they'll point at their guest, put it right in his hands, right, and they're just shaking their head. No way he's going to make that.
Raj, listen to this. That exact same thing. I was at the ballpark with. I brought 3 guys with me because I got 4 seats, and I'm waving at you from way wherever you are. You're a couple rows, whatever it was. I'm waving. You see me, and I point to 2 guys. I said, "These 2 guys. You did something I've never seen. It's just unbelievable what you did. And I know you know what it is too, but nobody else knows. You took this bag of peanuts." And you took 2 bags around your back, and it landed on each guy. Boom, boom. Each guy, you remember? You might. Well, of course, you must do this. I mean, I don't know how you did it mathematically, physically. I don't know how it worked, but it was the 2 guys. And one guy took a picture, put on Facebook, and it got all these views. People they just go crazy over you. You're just so
they do it's magical to them, and and the thing is, when I throw them behind the back, and I'm the only peanut vendor. I mean, they hire a lot of peanut vendors at Dodger Stadium, but no one throws them behind the back other than myself. And I've even gone to other ballparks around the country, and no one throws them behind the back. There was one guy in Seattle up at that ballpark that used to throw them behind the back, and he passed away a few years back, and he wouldn't do it near the distance I do. But it's just a God-given gift to me and talent to do this. And I used to play basketball, and I was always throwing the behind the back, no look pass, even before Magic Johnson. But it just came so natural for me to throw these behind the back, and it looks so much difficult and hard to do, and yet it is more easier for me to throw them behind my back, even at long distance, than it is just a regular over-the-shoulder pitch that any ball player would pitch out on a baseball on the field. And what it is, when I throw them behind the back, that kind of, the way that the thrust of me throwing the bag behind the back gives it that, it's like a launching pad. And each throw that I make, I have to make an instant judgment on how fast I'm going, how much speed is going to be on it. Do I need to give it the arch? Maybe it might be an older person. I want to make sure they see it coming down. It's not some bullet that just comes straight across. And if it's a young child, to take the speed off, and so their young, small hands can grab onto it. Because if I throw a bag and it's right in their hands and they drop it, I'm the one that's going to look bad.
Yeah, well.
And so I have to ensure that the person I'm throwing to does catch it. And I'm always in the zone and always do that.
Well, I'll tell you something. You sure make it fun. It's quite amazing. One of the things I was going to say earlier is that, I do keynotes. I speak at conferences around the country. And actually, I have a little story that I tell about you in this. Oh,
really?
Yeah, really. Because, here's kind of what it is. We're talking about you as the consummate salesman, the consummate ambassador of a brand, which is spectacular. But, I have a section that I do on how money follows expertise. And, how you got to be an expert to be a doctor, or how to be an airline pilot. And, everybody's kind of got their expertise. And then I'll say, is it possible to be an expert if you didn't go to college and maybe you didn't even finish high school? Or did you go to high school?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. So, is it possible if you didn't go to college and do all these other fancy things, is it possible to be an expert at something? And the people go, yeah, they can't think of any way. I said, well, there's this guy right here at Dodger Stadium, and his dad probably told him, like I tell my children, no matter what you do, you go be the best at it. Just be the best. And this guy became the best peanut thrower. And I said, the guy makes more money than probably most of the people in this room. And he's world famous, and he's well liked, and he's got a million friends. And then I'll show a picture of you. I took a picture of you in my section one time, and a lot of people recognize depending on where they're from. And and it really, because you really are a role model for people, and your willingness to share and give and just be friendly is quite remarkable. It's a really
you have in order to really be successful. And you've got to be dedicated and willing to sacrifice and to serve, and again, I know that the two words "thank you" and the smiles, they go a lot further than just that one sale, and as you and there's the old cliche, a lot of times, work smarter, not harder. Well, mine go hand in hand. I'm working smarter and harder, but there's so many secrets and trades of not going down a dead aisle. You've got to keep your eye on where your competitor has been. And if he's just been down that aisle selling peanuts, you want a fresh aisle. And you want people, though, that are going to look the other way if somebody does come by, because they want to be serviced by a certain individual that creates happiness and makes them feel good about their experience at Dodger Stadium. And there's a lot of people that will tell me, and it really makes me want to keep going there for another 61 years, on how much they appreciate how hard I work, and they'll say, well, we don't see as many people working as hard as you do, and we don't understand why, but we know you were brought up in the right way, that hard work is paid off for you, and I just feel good about entertaining people out there, and it's my stage. I guess it is. When I'm out there at the ballpark, I forget about all of my troubles and ills, and the adrenaline kicks in, and I'm there just to service and entertain.
Well, I'll tell you what is just spectacular, and that is that you're chipper, you're in good shape. I don't know how many times you run up and down those stairs. It's got to be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 times. I don't know what it is, but it's remarkable how you manage to do that. It is really incredible.
Well, it's just that I just get so much just joy in coming to the ballpark, and I just enjoy the excitement and just the atmosphere. I just almost can't think of at least for me, a better job. I'm not there truly I'm not going to get rich selling peanuts, but I do okay. Oh, I wrote a note down here because very seldom do I look at this seniority list that they post every game, and all the vendors, they rush up there every game to look to see if they've moved up a spot, because the one with the most games worked at LA Dodger games is number one in line. And of course, that's yours truly, Roger Owens. But, there's only 81 home games a year, along with any playoff and World Series games. And I'm sure pulling for my Dodgers to make it to October in the World Series, and the playoffs are going to start next week, and I'm really looking forward to that. But I looked at the other day, a lot of these vendors, they'll look and they'll see, 81 games a year at the ballpark. So if you've got about 200 or 300 events, that means you've been working there 1 or 2 years at Dodger Stadium, and you're trying to inch your way up so you can get a choice of whether you want to sell ice cream, or actually they sell beer in the stands now too, and hawking beer and churros and pizza and peanuts and all those other things. But so they feel pretty good when they've got maybe 500, 600 events under their belt on that seniority list, and some are close to 800 or 900. But then they look at my name at the top, and the other day it was 5,000, about 5,300 events.
Wow.
And they go, oh, man, how long has he been around?
I don't know. That just doesn't seem that it doesn't seem like they've got everything that you've done counted just right. It seems like that's shortened you quite a bit. Well,
just think, if there's 81 games a year and 10 years, that's only 800 events.
Well, I guess 60 years times 80 is 4,800. So that
right.
So pretty close.
Yeah. I think it's no, it's about right. I don't keep track. I don't even look at that. They always know. The supervisor, he's always asking these guys as they come up to the line, which level do you want to work and which item do you want? And then they have to ask questions. Well, how many spots do you have left on beer, and how many on pizza and this and that? But when I start, they already start writing my name before he started. Roger, Loge level, third base side, peanuts. Okay, Rod, see ya. They know I'm never going to change and never will. And it's nice to do that too, because now when people from out of town or the media or anyone want to talk with me before the game, they know where to find me. I never have left that section, the Loge level, home plate, third base, left field side, and where you sit, you're in aisle 106, I think it is.
Yeah, 106, right, 106.
Right, and they usually have another guy that takes the even aisles, but and I take all the odd aisles, and that other peanut vendor has the even aisles. But this year, I've been covering the whole level the majority of the time because a lot of the other peanut vendors can make a lot more money selling beer now.
Yeah, they're moving a lot of beer. Hey,
Oh, they are, and they also give them the handheld portable credit card and debit card machine where they can swipe the cards, and that helps them too.
One other thing that I want to point out, and even for business people, this is really the inside track on a lot of things. And I think if companies do some of the things you're talking about, that they can profit from the inside, just like all the rest of our shows. Your content it's business oriented, even though we're not talking business per se. But one of the things I notice about you, you're friendly and you're nice and you're a good ambassador. But when you're working, you are all business. You are not joking around. You're not taking breaks. You're not fooling around. I don't know when you count your money or where you go to get refills or what you do. But I'm telling you, Raj, you are so focused. And that's an amazing quality.
Well, yeah, that's another thing is to be organized, and a lot of the new vendors that come out there, and I try to give them some advice and guidance too, and some of the secrets of the trade, but because you can't just show up there without your own bank, your own personal to make change, and they'll come at the ballpark without any ones and tens and fives to make change. And I said, no, you've got to go to the bank and withdraw some of your money and bring that with you. You need a bank, and you don't want to have to keep running back if you keep running out of ones. You don't want to go all the way back to the commissary when you could be selling. You're taking away from your time in selling and making some money, and then again. Now they give us credit before if you've worked there a while, so that we don't have to pay ahead of time, and they issue your product, and you can get out there early. And then in the 6th inning, 7th inning, when we check-in time, then you'll pay for your product and what you sold, and turn in the rest back to the warehouse. Again, like any sales job, you've really just got to, I guess, your personality and maybe have a certain trait that everybody seems to enjoy, but again, you can get by with just thank you. I really appreciate your business, and because there's so many people that I've seen, whether it be in a restaurant, in a grocery store, or anywhere, there's no guarantee that your jobs are going to be there forever and be available. But if you can just help that person to enjoy the experience of going to the ballpark. I mean, this is just one facet of the ballpark, buying food at the ballpark. It's not just watching that game or listening to the music, but I know now that for me, I'm their personal contact, and I am, they look at me as part of the Dodger experience. And so I want them to go away happy so that they'll be back. And the Dodgers, it's just my little part in helping make that a good experience where they're going to want to come back.
Well, and you do a wonderful job.
And that way you're protecting your livelihood and what you're doing. And I don't know, again, it's just work ethics. And, if something does happen, just learn from it and just make sure that if it shouldn't have happened, that it doesn't happen again, and just strive to even be better than the previous game,
Well, listen, you do a wonderful job of it, and you certainly have the inside track on a number of things, and there's more to your business than meets the eye. So thanks for helping us to profit from the inside and do all the things that we like to do. It was just a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Right. And listen, let me mention this too, and maybe some of the people that are listening, they might enjoy it, but the book on my life, and it is one of the best human interest stories. I didn't write the book. The book was written by my nephew, Daniel Scott Green, and he had been watching me ever since he was a young kid, on the Tonight Show and at the ballpark, and read about me in newspapers. But he decided that I want to do a book, and I got a hold of a publisher in Florida, and the book was entitled "The Perfect Pitch." And it has double meaning, but it was a story about my entire life from the day I was born to the present time, and all the struggles and all of the good and bad times that we had in growing up and then getting the job and all the highlights and everything. It's available at Amazon, The Perfect Pitch. And it's been out now 14 years and received a lot of good reviews, and people will, almost every homestand, bring that book up to me to the ballpark to have me autograph it. And they've told me it's the best human interest story that they've ever read, one of a kind, and it has so many surprises in that story about not just me, but my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, all the things that happened along the way. And yet, this ballpark job is the highlight of the story, and it shows how many famous people I've met along the way and well-known people, and just all the honors and all the fun things that have happened along the way. And then pictures of me and former ball players like Steve Garvey and Ron Say and Tommy Lasorda and so many other people in the book throughout also. But The Perfect Pitch on it at Amazon.
Well, I'll tell you what, I want to end with two things. One is I think that you're as much a member of the team as Vin Scully and some of the other, support people. You really probably ought to have a World Series ring. And number two, I don't know if you've seen this, but Bank of America is running this great commercial. At least it runs in Los Angeles, and it runs during the games. And there's a peanut thrower on this thing. And he's a really good actor, and he's funny, and it's a really good commercial. And he's making a joke.
I saw that.
And then he throws chili dogs.
He said he used to throw chili dogs, but he doesn't recommend it anymore. And now I guess commercial shows him he's almost sitting down throwing that bag of peanuts.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to reach out to Bank of America, and I'm going to tell them they need to recast you into that deal, because nobody's a more famous peanut thrower than you.
Well, okay, but no, I saw that, and I thought it was kind of cute and everything, but I just enjoy my work and just appreciate life, and I don't know what else I could say. And even, and it's amazing because my fame reached over many years ago into Japan, and I have been flown over to Japan to pitch peanuts, at least 6-7 different times. And one time, it's been now 15, 18 years ago, I was flown over there to pitch peanuts at the Japanese World Series over in Japan.
No kidding.
And they had known about me from Dodger Stadium, and every once in a while I'll get, when I do make a trip over there, which it hasn't been for a while, I'll always get a letter from one of the young people there that tell me how much they enjoyed having me in their country.
Well, listen, Rod, you're a pleasure, and I sure appreciate you being on the show here today with us. So thank you very much, and I will look forward to seeing you. I'm going to be at NLDS 2, so I will see you at the ballpark next week.
Right. Then you're talking about October 4th, right?
Yeah, that'd be October 4th. Our group has a certain rotation the way that we do it. We've been doing it for years, and every group has their own little way of doing it. We got a little way that works for us. So thank you so much, and I will.
Well, please reintroduce yourself to me and let me know and say hello. But October 4th, Friday, October 4th, that's the second game. Yeah. But we do know for sure we've got two of the first games, and one is Thursday, October 3rd, the other one October 4th. So please do say hello. And I never know if I'm going to have the whole level to be able to go over to 106, or if I've only got 101 the other way, and then you come over, hunt me down, and say hello.
I'll track you down for sure.
All right,
man. Listen, thank you very much. Really appreciate you being on the show.
Sure, my pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Profit from the Inside with Joel Block. For more insights and to learn more, visit joelblock.com.
How about a shout out and a giant thanks to my podcast producer, David Wolf, and his team at Podcast and Radio Networks. Profit from the Inside simply wouldn't be what it is without David and his team. For more information or to learn how you can launch and produce your own podcast, reach out to podcastandradio.com.